Coming on this podcast, just a man do the best he can with what he got. And today I got a returning guest, author extraordinaire, L. Maxwell. How you doing, brother man?
Hey man, you know it's midnight out here in India, bro. I understand, you got some things to talk to, but I mean, try somebody within your time zone. And I'm good, bro. Appreciate you reaching out.
No, I appreciate you doing this for me. And I want to talk to you about a few things in recent news. And most recently, I want to talk to you about the curious case of Mitch McConnell. For all intents and purposes, we have to honestly ask the question, is this man alive? And I find it weird.
I mean, that's a strange topic. I mean, I heard like 17 people say they spoke to him for a good 20 minutes, and he was lively talking about, defense of Ukraine, Israel, passing budgets, Save America Act, all that stuff. And one of them was down to the second. I talked to him for 17 minutes and 23 seconds. I'm like, dang, it's a little too exact. But I think he did.
I'm going to go ahead and agree with you. I think the man's dead. They did release a proof of life picture, and that raised more questions than answers. Because if you looked at the picture, they said he was in the hospital. He had jeans and a lumberjack flannel t-shirt on. I don't know many hospitals that allow you to wear jeans in the hospital bed in a sterilized area. Also, man, when I looked at the man's pictures and the man's facial features, it didn't look AI generated, but as somebody who has a minor in graphic design, it did look like it was Photoshop. Now, some people are saying that the photo itself, metadata, was correct. However, I can show you an FS reader right now online that I take you a photo and you can change metadata. But I think the most damning thing about this is nobody has faith in any institution now. Like nothing is real no more, and that's the world we living in where you have to question everything. Because legitimately, I'm like, I don't think this man's alive. I don't think he's alive, which leads into the other problem of the fact that America is a gerontocracy where everybody is old. The average age of the U.S. Senate right now is 65 years old. Lindsey Graham just kicked the bucket at 71. Mitch is like 80. Donald Trump is 80. Marsha Blackburn running for governor of my state in Tennessee, 74 years old. Chuck Schumer in his 70s. All these old folks need to get the hell out the way. And you can't get any new blood because you got these old folks holding on to power.
Number one, the reason why we can't trust anything with government was we were always skeptical. But now that they have things like AI and people are clearly using AI terribly to cover their tracks, it's just kind of like, dude, we already don't trust you, and now you clearly are incompetent at covering your tracks. So to me, it just confirms that we should never trust you, right? Especially not going forward, especially with AI just being that accessible, right? Regardless of how you want to look at the photo and if it's metadata or being, Photoshop, whatever, all he has to do is pick up the phone, call Fox News. Hey, it's Mitch McConnell. I'm doing all right. Just get on the phone. That's all you got. I'm not feeling too well. I'm gonna come in probably around November, around the election. So that's all you got to say. Matter of fact, they could have got an impersonator to get on the phone. That would have been a better way to lie. Going on to it, like all these old folks in office, it's like I've always said this. You guys have had your turn. Clearly, you screwed the pooch. The entire world has fallen apart. You were given a silver platter, the baby boomers. They had all the things afforded to them. Better housing rates, things were cheaper, the dollar was stronger. They didn't have to worry about, the cost of living, all these other different things. They try to lecture the younger generations to be like, back in my day, we did it like this. Yeah, back in the day. So what happened? You in charge. How come you couldn't maintain? Instead, you made it worse for the people after you. So it's time for you to step down. You clearly messed it up. We can't expect you to fix it. You can't expect the people that created the problem to solve the problem. Number one, they're not going to live long enough to see the solution be implemented.
Facts.
Right. Facts. And number two, what is the solution? Let's just take a step back. part of the solution. Millennials, Gen Z, or whatever Generation Alpha, the next one, what are they going to implement? They want a fair, more structured society where it's like, hey, I'm not going to focus on a 401k. I want to focus on memories today. I want to focus on not going to school because school's overpriced, or I'm going to do gig economies, or I'm going to do influencing, or there's all these other different things that people are pursuing now because they say the traditional route, go to school, go to college, start a family, do this. It's not feasible. So it just live your life, do what you want. There's no structure because everybody promised us something, and honestly, where is it at, right?
Most Fortune 500 companies will kick you out at 65. And you don't need all these old folks in office because they ain't got no skin in the game.
Guess what the retirement age is in India? The average official government retirement age
Probably 60 years old, I gather,
is 55.
which makes sense.
At 55, they tell you, hey, man, you got to retire, change careers, or do whatever because you are taking up jobs for the younger folks. And honestly, at that age, you should be focusing on the rest of your golden years. And that's kind of the mindset.
It should be the mindset because every job you're in as an older person, you're taking away from a young up and comer. And that's kind of the problem with the American political system, that the older people are grasping the powers from our cold dead hands is literally where we at right now. Do you know who the oldest member of Congress is right now?
Is it Nancy Pelosi?
It's Chuck Grassley. And guess how old this man is? Just a guess.
Probably 90.
92 years old.
92 years old, man.
The oldest sitting member of Congress is Chuck Grassley at 92 years old. The man was first elected into the Senate in 1981. Guess what happened in 1981?
I was a twinkle in my daddy's eye.
And I was born June the 8th, 1981 is when this
Yeah.
guy first got into office. And let me tell you what else happened in 1981. That was the first time that women across America
Could get a bank account.
Yes. You could not legally rape your married wife in 1981. And this guy is still in office right now.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like there's a lot of like societal norms that we just look at him like, yeah, why when was this why did this need to become a law? Isn't this just common sense? You know, women should be able to vote. Like you can't discriminate, on skin color. Yeah, of course, that's normal.
Think about this. Chuck Grassley was living during segregation, Jim Crow laws. He's actually was in that. That was his norm, right?
Hmm.
And I'm not
Hmm.
saying that Chuck Grassley is pro segregation, but I'm saying
Is he a Republican or Democrat?
he's a Republican.
Yeah, so when they talk about making America great again, they need to be interviewing him like exactly what point in time you talking about, Mr. Grassley?
Yeah, what do you
Can you
mean?
point to the decade when it was at its greatest?
And so the funny thing is when Mitch McConnell do pass, and it's coming soon, but when he dies, it's going to be an interesting obituary because he's patient zero for all the discourse that happened as soon as Obama got elected. He was the guy that said, hey man, before Obama even did one thing, got one foot in the office, he said, my goal is to make Obama a one-term president. That man actually blocked the court's a nomination. He's like, he wouldn't let that man nominate nobody in the Supreme Court. He made up that bullshit rule.
Yeah.
And we have to wait till after the election before we can do anything. He did everything to obstruct.
Yeah, I just hope all the money they made grifting off the American public was worth it because as you can see, Lindsey Graham's like after he passed and just seeing the messaging and people remembering him, it was not positive. I don't think he got more than 10 minutes of like maybe airtime before they just went on to the next thing. They're like, oh well, he's dead now. Well, we'll just elect his sister.
The funny thing about Lindsey Graham, right? This surprise death, I truly believe that the grace and gratitude I give you in death has to be proportionate to the grace that you gave while you was alive. So anybody who's just like dancing on this man's grave, I get it because you got a closeted homosexual guy who worked, I'm talking about vehemently against gay rights, denied himself. Plenty of reports of dude getting gay hookers in Washington. Don't get mad at me. The reports are out there. Now that he's dead, you want me to say something good about it? I'm just like, nah. If there's some good, we can talk about that, but we can't dismiss the bad as well. One of the most damning things about Lindsey Graham, man, for me, when I saw him flip-flop so hard on John McCain, who was supposed to be his homie, supposed to be his ace, after saying Trump, matter of fact, his exact words was, if we elect President Trump, we get what we deserve, and it'll be a disaster. And he wasn't lying about that. But as soon as Trump came into office, man, that man fell in line and licked the tape. I'm like, I can't get behind this guy. I can't get jiggy with that guy's getting at.
I mean, some people got behind him, but that's I guess that was on his grinder account. But besides that, besides like I said, he gone now. This South Carolina. I'm not gonna pretend that South Carolina was ever gonna flip in terms of its political ideologies. I mean, it's just weird because it's always like the states, the red states with the most difficult like placements in education, or they're always the most vocal about, I guess all these rights being infringed and all that. But they're the first ones to vote away their own like best interests, right? Like Lindsey Graham said, they deserve what they get. And the sad part is, by the time they realize what they get, they're going to conveniently forget that that's what you voted for. That's what you vehemently supported and was like, hey, this is what we want. And then when you come to realize, why am I making less money? Why is everything costing more? The guy you put in office raised tariffs. The guy you put in office made $2 billion in 1 year, and y'all were okay with that. You really think he was serving you guys?
The greatest trick these folks ever pulled, and this goes back to the age thing with Mitch McConnell, Marshall Blackburn in particular, and I think Tennessee is a big example of what's wrong. They have given you nothing. I've read Marshall Blackburn's platform. They're giving you nothing but tax cuts and trickle down. And the most damning thing about trickle down is they actually got people to believe that being part of the 1% was obtainable. If you just work hard, you can get into this upper echelon and live the American dream, when it's stupid. Right now, we're going broke as a country. There's no money. We're in debt. But you're giving the people with the most money tax breaks. That makes no sense. Like, mathematically, it makes no damn sense. You're saying the wealth is going to trickle down, but all the people with the wealth, you're not getting money from them. You're like, well, look at the millions and billions they're paying in taxes. Yeah, they're making trillions of dollars now. They should be paying billions in taxes. In order to get prosperity to rise, the floor has to get higher, not the top get more money. And that's the greatest trick these folks pull.
SpaceX just getting its evaluation, and now Elon, who's a trillionaire on paper, he's talking about like, hey, SpaceX is too big to fail. We need these government contracts because the stock dropped like 40% from its high. It went from like 130 to $210 or something. It's back down to 120, so it's below its initial offering. So there's a whole bunch of people, they think the stock is definitely overinflated. They had a launch the other day that failed, and so they're like, people are now wondering like, what are they going to do with this money? And Elon's, he's worried about his stock price, so he's talking about we might be too big to fail. Government step in. And I'm like, bro, you a trillionaire? You asking for a bailout? What the hell? Yeah, but going back to Marsha Blackburn, if you saw her most recent campaign ad talking about she's gonna take on China, I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Like, let's just be real. China's been around 5,000 plus 10,000 years, whatever. What is the state of Tennessee going to do to another country? When can any state be like, we're going to take on Canada, we're going to take on Mexico? Like, what are you going to do as a state? You're not even California or New York, and even they wouldn't even try to take on China as a government. Why are your voters listening to that and being like, "Oh, that's exactly what we need in Tennessee. Someone to stand up to China." I'm like, what do you mean? Stand up to China? Like, look at all your goods. They come from China. If you want to stand up to China, then go ahead, pay for something local down the street. Pay more for it, and don't complain. But to me, China wouldn't even blink. Oh, nobody from Tennessee's buying our stuff. Well, I guess we'll close up shop now.
So Marshall Blackburn has been a weird one to me because, I'm in Tennessee. And do you know right now, Tennessee has the third largest amount of bankruptcies in the whole country.
It's because of China, bro.
Number one is Alabama, two is Mississippi, and three is Tennessee. I did some digging into the numbers of why we have so many bankruptcies, because everybody in Tennessee, they want to blame everything on Memphis and Shelby County. Anything that goes bad, they blame on that. High crime, Memphis, Shelby County. Bankruptcies, Memphis, Shelby County. And it's true. Like, the highest density of bankruptcies in Tennessee are in Memphis. However, Memphis is the second largest city in Tennessee. But if you remove Memphis from that equation, guess where Tennessee still lands at? We're seven. We only go up. Four spots. We have a problem. Our education is terrible. CNBC just did a poll and it ranked Tennessee the worst state to move to. And that was mainly because they focused on culture war issue, man. You can't do shit. All these folks who are for state rights and less government intervention are happy to tell drag queens not to read to kids.
I mean, and they keep talking about trans people being in sports, and I'm just kind of like, I understand that is an issue that some people hold near and dear, but I'm gonna be honest. When you look at the numbers, it's probably like less than 12 people that have made a headline about it across the entire country. You know what I mean? And I'm just kind of like, those can be handled at a very local, sensitive level, case by case, literally, and probably be resolved amicably. Hey, what should we do? You know what? This isn't working. Maybe we should, withhold this competition or whatever, and people can go to court. I mean, be real. I played sports in high school. Did you play sports in high school, whatever? Like,
I did, ran track.
yeah. Does it really matter? Does anybody just look up and be like, "Hey, Marcus, man, I remember you ran a 4.5 back in, 2002." Nobody cares.
I tell people, man, I care about rights. I don't care about privileges, right? The problem is some of the things that are rights, such as voting, people look at as a privilege. In most cases, what is happening is people are talking about these privileges like they are rights. Man, a mutual friend of ours, Aaron Pugsley,
Ran. Who?
friend of the friend of the podcast, Aaron Pugsley, he made an argument that the SAVE Act is needed to stop fraud. And I said, hey, man, cool. If you want to have IDs to verify people, I'm all right. How are you going to make sure every American gets one freely and easily? But how would you make sure IDs are freely available? And it went to, oh, well, you can get to all these private organizations if you really want to try. I'm like, no, I'm not asking that. You're trying to stop fraud. I'm saying, okay, let's make the election more secure. But why aren't you talking about putting more polling places in high density areas? Why are you not talking about, man, making free rides to the poll? Like there's all these barriers to voting that nobody's trying to address.
And make it a federal holiday.
Make it a federal holiday. Make sure everybody's willing. That was another point I was making. I'm like, yo, people have to take off work to even register sometimes. Like, if you're making all these rules for security, what are you also doing to make sure every legal citizen of America can vote? You know what that man said? Man said voting wasn't a right. The Constitution doesn't protect your right to vote. And I had to just stop the conversation there. I'm like, you know what, buddy? Cool. Since voting is not right, I got to stop talking to you.
Look, this applies to everybody. Some people, they're not actually trying to like be informed. They're not actually trying to solve a problem. They're just trying to tell other people what to do. And for some reason, they feel like their opinion is more weighted just because in the past, their opinion was the only opinion that was heard. But today's a new day and age. There are dumb opinions that we don't need to further platform. When I watch the news, they'll put a left and a right person on the panel, and the person on the right is clearly lying. Like they're just making up stuff. They're just gaslighting. They're just whataboutisms. They're not answering a yes or no question directly. And then the person on the left is just like, just looking dumbfounded, like, is he not going to answer, or are they not going to answer? And in the end, it's like, it makes for good television. It's controversial. People are yelling at each other, whatever. It's entertaining. But in the end, it's like, from perception standpoint, these two people have an equal platform. So, quote unquote, each of their opinions are weighted the same.
Yep.
But one of them is clearly lying. We need to eventually be like, credibility wise, hey, this person has lied. We can't let them back on the show. We need to put a freaking disclaimer. This has been proven false. This is the 10th time this person has made this claim, and this is the 10th time that has been disproven. But they don't do that anymore. And to get eyeballs to watch, they got to make it where it seems like the left and the right are speaking just from, it's just, it's both sides. No, one side can be wrong. Not always wrong, but can be wrong. But for some reason, it's just, we're just not calling it out. Like, hey, just call people stupid. Like, this is dumb. If a person is just barking at you, and you're telling it, hey, I ain't do nothing to you. That's not what we're talking about. At some point, you know what they say, when if you argue with a fool, it's two fools. You see two fools. They're just arguing with each other. Like just at some point, you just got to cut them off. What's his name? Scott Jennings on CNN. He was talking about Mitch McConnell, talking about he got a phone call from him and this and that. It was so like weird. His statement of how it seemed rehearsed about this is what you should say to show proof of life, whatever. CNN had to make a statement later to say Scott Jennings is just an opinion, blah blah blah. Person invited to the show, his comments are of his own. They have not been corroborated or stated as facts from CNN, or whatever. And these are, and it should not be taken as such. Why would a CNN have to say that? Because they're trying to cover their tail.
I graduated from the University of Tennessee at Martin, go Skyhawks, with a degree in broadcast journalism.
Oh,
And one thing that was taught to me the first day of class, shout out to Dr. Robinson, shout out to White Rodney, we had to always ask the question, is this newsworthy? And the reason why we had to ask if it's newsworthy is because there was a limited amount of time and you had to get the most important stuff. But when I got my first job at WRAG News Channel 3 in news, I never forget this, Ed Randall. He told me, man, real news doesn't exist anymore. All the news we have now is activism. And I was young at
mm-hmm.
the time. I was like, man, shut up, old man. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. But then I got older. I got to thinking about it. He's right. Because true news only gives you what happens. And then you form your opinion about what happens. Once you start asking people what they think and you get pundits pontificating, that's opinion now. It's to the point now that your top shows on these 24-hour news cycle shows are not even journalists. Sean Hannity is not a journalist. Janine Shapiro wasn't a journalist. These folks didn't have journalism degree. They're all opinion shows. These debate shows, not even debate, they're just arguing because, like you said, it gives rating. But the Trump administration and the right in particular found out that it doesn't even matter. You can just lie because if you shatter faith in all these institutions and you make them believe that everything is fake, you can just say what you
Roger
want. And
2025.
there you go. If you got a polarity of people that agree with you now, that can be truth. You go on the prime time and say, hey, man, China influenced the 2020 election. They're going to do it now. Now, never forget the fact that your intelligence apparatus did all the investigation and you was in charge before Biden got in. You could have did all that stuff, much like people say, well, Biden had all that information about Epstein, why they leaked it out. I got to ask the same thing about Trump. If your intelligence community knew China was trying to interfere, why didn't you stop it then?
I mean, just think about it like this. Graham Plattner out in Maine, probably about to suspend his campaign just because of all these allegations, sexual impropriety, all that stuff. And regardless, like, hey, y'all should have never put this dude up without vetting him anyway. But regardless, the Republicans are, clutching their pearls about how could he. This is what the Democrats are all about. They just want to push this, whatever. They're not really serious about women's, rights, Me Too, whatever. But besides that, I'm like, okay, if that is true and that's how you truly feel, which I am not defending Graham Plattner, like if he wants to step down, I mean, it is what it is. Trump is a convicted sexual harassment or sexual abuser. He had sued 3, 4 times and lost each time. I think he owes like 85 million now. So it's proven in court, and his followers don't understand. It's like, well, why ain't he in jail then? The statutes of limitations expired criminally for liability, but civilly he was still liable. And then he continued to defame her. So that was like even more recent within the statute of limitations. And that's why he keeps losing, right?
Right.
Because he actually raped her. But his supporters can't connect the dots of like he is literally a predator in chief. And you can't seem to just admit the facts found in court, quote unquote, back to blue. In law enforcement, you support law enforcement, but when the court tells you your president is a rapist, for some reason you gotta stand. You still stand by him. But the moment anybody on the blue side, ex-girlfriend this says that about Graham Platter, y'all trying to tell him he needs to resign right now. Like, let them all resign. Anybody that comes up,
Get them all out. Get them all the
but
hell out of here.
but like I said, the truth comes down to, like, they don't actually care about moral decency.
They
It's
don't.
all about maintaining power.
Going back to Mitch McConnell, that was the knock against that guy. It was just to try to obtain more power. He is the reason why Trump is in office right now. I'm pretty sure if you gave Mitch McConnell some truth serum right along with that cocktail barbiturate to keep him alive,
He needs some super soldier serum or something. He dead, bro.
if you give him that, I swear, I'm pretty sure he will say, my biggest mistake was thinking I can control Trump. Man, he was the real president for the first 2 years of Trump's first term. Like Mitch McConnell was calling all the shots, and you saw it running off the track at the last like 2 years when COVID hit. Mitch was just like, man, what are we doing? What we? Yes, man, get the damn vaccine. Mitch was like, yes, give me the vaccine. They couldn't contain it, man, and now you have an idiot running the country who doesn't know what he's doing, looks like he got early signs of dementia, who's just trying to get as much money as he can for his family. Like he doesn't care about governing right now. This is just all about obtaining the most amount of money I can before I die. Because I keep saying, man, at the tender age of 80, your next accomplishment should be death.
I mean, he made $2 billion last year. Like to me, it's like saying it's right, but I completely understand. Like, hey, break every law you can. You closer to death than you are to your best years. You just grift as much as you can, and it just logically makes sense. Like, hey, I mean, if that's the person you are, you're in the best position to
That's why you don't elect old people, though. You don't elect old people because they don't have any skin in the game.
they don't have no skin in the game. But going back to what you were saying about Mitch McConnell saying they can control him, I'm like, think about it. Trump can't even control his bowels. You think so? What they gonna do about like this man is in like they had a I don't it was the other day they had to cut a meeting short press conference and people were in the back making some stank faces
Yeah, they
and
had
they
to do
said
the
y'all
face.
they're kicking everybody out and I'm just kind of like man what is going on? Like none of this is normal. And I'm not even trying to be funny. Like this is not normal, right? Like if the next person we elect, female, male, whoever, if they behave the same way, having like, could you imagine, like, regardless if it's true or not, just the fact that the allegation is this man is doodling on himself in the middle of meetings, like, what, what part of society just be like, yeah, man, you just gotta expect it. Our political leaders, man, all of them wear diapers. No, we never had to deal with that.
But that's the problem, man. When you don't have term limits, like you don't have term limits and you don't set a standard and you don't really groom the next generation to take over. And that's the indictment on America, man. If you're telling me we haven't even cultivate no leaders, then we're lost. Nobody can take the
Right.
reins from Papa.
What is it? The 25th Amendment got to come through where people be like, hey, he can't serve. He's incapacitated. Like this man can't have a meeting without having to get a diaper change or something. Like that's not serving a country. He literally can't fulfill his duties. He's fulfilling the wrong duties. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, hey, that was funny.
Like if you don't learn to laugh, you're gonna be crying you're gonna be crying a lot. It's depressing. So you just gotta learn to laugh at it. But I'm out here in India. I don't know what y'all out here they're doing. I'm just like 2, 3 more years, I'll come back, maybe. I mean, look at New York. Mamdani got elected, and he's turned down his pay raise, talking about, "Hey, I ain't did nothing yet. I don't need no more money. I ain't doing this for the
Facts.
money. I haven't knocked on enough doors." But to me, they hate that man because he's Democrat. Now they're saying he's a communist and all this, and I'm just kind of like, I posted this on my Facebook. I said, if communism and socialism is what Mamdani is doing with New York, please explain to me what is capitalism bringing to the table for the people. Like what is it about like capitalism that's like, hey, we cannot, like, because the rich are getting richer. Yeah, I see that, but what is it that like about it, must be maintained in its entirety to whereas we can't have faster buses, childcare, more affordable health care,
Better infrastructure.
less, yeah, less homeless people, dying on the streets. Literally, part of his initiative during the winter was like, yo, we gotta get these warming places up. We gotta get these people out of the streets just so they don't die. because people die all the time in New York. They ain't got nowhere to sleep. They out sleeping outside during blizzards.
That goes back to the thing I said in the beginning, though. They've tricked everybody into believing that one day you're going to get into the 1% instead of raising the floor. There's no reason why college should cost as much as it is. The reason why houses are so expensive in America is for scarcity. We're not building any more houses. Instead of drill, baby, drill, it should be build, baby, build. But if you build more houses, then the houses that are there now, value goes down and nobody wants to do that. They're looking for that to appreciate. Right now, you got companies buying up all single family homes, and that's something Trump said he was really for. And I was like, yeah, do that. Didn't happen.
Eh,
Much like my Doge check.
Yeah.
Didn't happen.
Speaking of college, and it might be coming to another subject, but like you knew it was some BS in terms of why costs were going up when, during our time, early 2000s, 2000 before 2010, digital books, digital textbooks were becoming a thing. You can buy the digital copy or you can buy the physical copy, and I was like, the prices weren't that much different. You maybe got a
Facts.
slight discount on
Facts.
the digital one, but he's like,
Facts.
why
Yes.
would I buy the digital one when I could buy the physical book and
Mm-hmm.
sell it?
Yes.
And sell it back next year for, maybe 20% or 10% of what I
Are
paid
you
for it.
hitting on something,
Get
Dow?
something back.
You hitting on something
Yeah.
because that was the beginning of what we have now. It's kind of the subscription model where you don't own anything, you have nothing physical.
You just
You
own a
you
license.
own a license, and that was the greatest trick everybody ever pulled on us. Like you have nothing anymore. Everything is owned by a few people. And once again, you're talking about socialism and communism. If only a few companies own the means of production, why do they have to give it to me?
So this is funny because China, which is a communist country, they recently ruled against some software company for not transferring licenses. So some guy died and all his gaming library, like 25-year library, where he had DLCs and all these like rare items, his family wanted to inherit it, but the company's like, no, you can't inherit it. It's a license, and we sold it to him, and it leaves and dies with him. China stepped in and said, nope, nope. He paid for it. He owns it. You need to be able to set it up to where as people can his property can be transferred to his family because he had like rare items that they could be traded for like real money, $25,000 or something like that. And so to me, it's like China is like, we're not here to protect the companies. We're here to protect consumers or protect the people. And, in the United States, we used to have that kind of mindset, but, I think Doge, you just mentioned, Doge got rid of that.
Say what you want. The system right now isn't working. But to get you off the track and off the fact that the system isn't working, they throw words like socialism and communism at you without even looking up the words.
And it's just fear mongering.
There you go, because the definitions don't even matter. When you look up definitions, they don't matter at all because the only thing they're trying to say is, I don't like that guy right there. He's different.
It's all ad hominem. I was like, hey, I can't argue with his ideas or what he's done in his experience. Let me just he's brown. Let me attack his religion. Let me attack his let me look in his history and see if he's visited any countries that are questionable. And
Definitely a
I'm just
rapper
kind of
too,
like,
so that damn hippity hop. But
yeah.
when you're old, that's the problem. Like old people are voting more money in for themselves. Like if you're old right now, you're getting government health care through Medicare. You're getting government subsidies, Social Security. The government is taking care of you. They give you all the tax breaks if you own homes. If you're an older person right now, the government is working for you. That you're on top. The problem is, man, if you are a young man, 20, 24, 25, trying to make your way in the world.
Hold on, bro. 24, 25. I just turned 38 this past Monday. What you trying to say, man? I ain't young no more.
I mean, no, you're not. But you're not. Neither am I, right? I'm older than you, right? We're not young anymore.
Yeah, but black don't crack though.
Yeah, man, I'm holding in. I'm holding up pretty good. But
I ain't never model for Lacoste.
yeah, that did. Shout out to underwear modeling for Lacoste. But but hey, man, if I was getting paid enough, maybe I didn't have to show my drawers to get money. You know?
No, you just chose the wrong platform. OnlyFans, brother.
Man, there's no premium on showing penises. If there was, I would be on there. But think about it like that. Teachers are quitting teaching and going to OnlyFans.
I support you. I also support you, man. I'm just kidding.
We talking about, man, like, nah, I was like, if I got one subscriber already, I can depend on that 1995 monthly. But I need to get this thing popping.
And I bet that goes back to the whole gig economy thing. So it's like I mean I don't somebody's paying for it. And it's probably these, like you said, these retirees, they got money to spend. 9.99, 4.99 a month times a million. That's quite a bit of money.
Did you, man, just not to change the subject, but did you see that Odell Beckham interview where dude was like, man, making $100 million really ain't a lot of money?
Who said that? Odell Beckham?
Yeah, he's like, well, it's been a lot of podcasts with professional athletes trying to explain why, like, the amount of money they're getting is not a lot of money. And honestly, I can get what they're saying, but I'm like, buddy, no. No. You can't tell me after taxes, after you pay your agent, after you pay your family, you being stuck with $5 million is not going to land right with the regular people. Our concepts of money in America, because the gap is so damn far between the haves and have nots, is we can't even like conceptualize what money really is. Because I remember when I said, man, if I can only save $10,000, that's a lot of money. Then I got $10,000. I was like, man, this ain't shit. Man, I need $50,000. Then I saved $50,000. And I was like, man, this ain't shit. And then I was like, man, I need 100K. And I got to 100K. And I'm looking at the 100K like, this ain't shit. I can't do nothing with this. Like, me getting on to thinking about my retirement, what that looks like. I'm like, bruh, if I just start working right now and I had 100K, this maybe, I'm talking about just bare minimum surviving, not going out, not doing anything. This 100K maybe will last me 3 years. I'm like, bro, I need more money. Maybe I can make this stretch to 5, but that's nothing. And that's where we're at right now, where the cost of living is going up and money doesn't mean what it meant anymore. However, contrast that to me seeing the president make $2 billion in a year. And I'm asking myself, man, how can I get some of that? Like all the money in the world is here in America. It's all here, but I can't get any of it.
Well, I mean, like I said, I don't agree with it, but like Trump and them, they know how to make money. They just monetize Truth Social, to whereas if you want to get like the first alerts of his tweets before they go out to the masses, you have to pay like X amount of dollars. So everybody that's like insider trading using his tweets to swing the markets, whatever, they like so basically they pay to win. And I'm just kind of like it's genius, and it's like, but at the same time, it's so openly corrupt. You know what I mean?
They're not even
And the
hiding
fact is,
anymore.
yeah, and the thing is just like it's like this is where like proof is in the pudding. What type of government or society are we? Are we one of ethics and morals? Do we actually uphold the Constitution for what it stands for, or is it just is it just a wishful thinking document, right?
As somebody who lived in Japan 12 years, a part of my booty itches every time I hear somebody say, there's no greater country than America. I'm like, have you traveled, bro?
You know what a bidet is, bro?
Have you felt that caress down your booty cheeks and knowing you're clean, wiping and you see nothing, no brown at all? Like, have you experienced that? A lot of the answers to this is traveling, man. You got to go out and see other things, get better ideas, and see what you're missing out. Did you know in Japan, man, they pay for my transportation? And when I got
Yeah,
back
yeah,
to
yeah,
America and I asked the company, I was like, hey, man, so who's going to pay for my transportation? He's like, what? I'm like, wait, I got to drive my car 70% of the time I'm going to your job, Monday through Friday. You're
yeah,
not paying for my gas and my insurance? No. Well, I need more money. I need to calculate that. Like, y'all need to give me $5 more for transportation.
yeah. But one thing is, a lot of people reach out to me. They're always like, what made you want to move out there? This, and that. I just tell them, for work or honestly, this and that. But then there's always that question of like I couldn't leave. There's always an insinuation or like a context where like I couldn't do it. You know what I mean? Like that. I was like, I'm being real with you. I'm not even trying to be extra. I'm like you don't have the option to do it. It's not really easy to move and go abroad. Like you have to really plan it. You know what I mean? And either somebody sponsors your visa,
Facts.
or you got money like that, or you got some
Mhm.
kind of lineage tied to it. Dual citizenship. It's not easy to just enter another country, right? Similarly, they complain about America, people coming to the country illegally, like So just imagine how if you want to legally enter another country, it's just as difficult as it is for America to be a legal citizen. So to me, it's just like a lot of people, they think that, because that barrier of entry is somewhat higher than, going to the store, applying down the street or something like that. It's like they think that it's not worth the effort. But to me, it's like, well, just travel first. Take a short, not even short, take the time to go somewhere for 2 weeks and not to spend money to do touristy stuff. Just 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 live amongst the locals and just see how much they spend on things and what they actually worry about.
Support you as much as we can.
It's just like you said about the whole patents and the government funded. If the government has to support an industry, then the fruits of that labor from that industry should go to the people. So if AI data centers are being built in cities, getting subsidized electricity and water, the profits from that AI company need to go to the community.
Makes
That
sense to me.
it's like 5%, 10%, whatever the number it is. Because to me it's like that's the it's just you scratch my back, I scratch your back. It's just very simple. But the problem is, it's like for some reason they just can't seem to earmark that part of the bill. Hey, but at least with Intel, that seemed to be a profitable move for America. They own 10% of it now. Intel stock went up, so technically that was a good investment. But that investment or that return, what does that equal for American people? Are we going to get cheaper chips? Are we going to get, you know, I don't know, like direct access to certain software or technology? I don't know.
Guess what's gonna happen,
Or
buddy?
is
I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen right
like
now.
what's the money? Where's the money going to go to? Is it going to go to education? Is it going
Nope.
to go to,
Mm-mm.
STEM,
Nah.
something?
This is what's gonna happen, man. I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. What's gonna happen is Intel's. I believe they're gonna get their fabs up and running. It's gonna be hard. They're gonna get up and running, and when they get it up and running, probably around this November, especially when they come out with that new chip, it's gonna be a lawsuit. And they're gonna sue not to pay us anything, and they're gonna ride off with those profits. That's what's gonna happen, Doc.
Yeah.
That's what's gonna happen.
I worked for them for like 6 years,
I
right
do.
before I came out here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So to me, I understand that money. It wasn't like a bailout. It was more like an investment. Like,
It
hey,
was.
we'll give you this much money and you give us this much equity. And that way it's like we have skin in the game, to whereas we
But
know
didn't
you're
it come
gonna
from the CHIPS
succeed. And
Act?
that,
I'm sorry, I mean to cut you off, but didn't that money
yeah,
was
yeah,
originally a
yeah.
grant from the CHIPS Act? So how can you make that grant now investment?
Because at the time they were kind of like bleeding cash. They were like down X amount of revenue,
Damn it,
profit,
Pat.
whatever, year over year. Yeah, Patty G. But it wasn't really just his fault. It was just a lot of missteps. They missed the iPhone, then they missed the AI move, uh, this and that. Like they're just constantly missing. But their current CEO has really turned things around from a closing the research gap. But that's more different discussion. Why did the U.S. government have to step in? It's because they saw what was happening elsewhere. TSMC in Taiwan, China was starting to become more independent since they were getting all those embargoes. All these nations were starting to build their own. I mean, I'm doing that right now, and like and for India, like I'm trying to help build up their infrastructure, but at the same time, it's like it's not meant to be like combative. It's just for security. During COVID, what happened? Everybody was hoarding their supply.
Yeah, supply
So
chain failed.
every country was like, "Hey, what about my chips? U.S., China, Taiwan, we good on ours. Everybody else, all the other countries, would get in line, but we holding on to ours." So when people saw that, they're like, "That's a risk now. We can't just expect people to work in good faith anymore. We got to secure our own supply."
Well, let me ask you this. What is the purpose of these chips, though? Because I have my own theory, but you're in the field. Why do we need so many chips? And why are chips so damn important? And why are we spending approximately $7 trillion in America right now to get these chips and get better and bigger chips and data centers developed?
Well, everything that has to compute, whether it's, in our phones, radios, cars, everything has some kind of a chip that requires some sort of computation, right? So you have to have physically the silicon to produce those, calculations and create that process. And we're just more and more, I say advanced, but more and more integrated in everything, like doorbells, cars, refrigerators, coffee makers. Everything starts to have more chips in it. But then on top of that, the stuff that already had chips, like your search engines, now search engines are more demanding. They're not just, hey, help me find the most visited website. No,
But why
it's
are they more demanding? That's my point. Like, why are they more demanding? Why do they need more power now?
humans are inherently lazy. We want instant gratification. That's just human nature. So technology supposedly should be providing those solutions for us. I'm not saying all AI will, be as a cure-all. I'm just saying, I'm just saying AI in its current state is so demanding that it needs all these chips. It doesn't need chips. It needs chips. It needs memory. It needs power. It needs, cooling.
Water
All these
cooling,
different
yeah.
things. Yeah, and then the things that provide those ancillary processes, cooling and power, those need chips to run, right? So it's like it kind of like exponentially grows as demand goes up. The problem is it's just we're in that state right now where AI is not as efficient as it could be. Right? Do you remember back in the day, cell phones used to cost so much per minute
Yep.
just to use, right? And now it's like,
Give me up.
hey, 7 p.m., man, call me after 7, bro.
My
Hey,
nights and
don't
weekends
text me,
kick in.
man. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, yeah, that's how we had to live. We had to ration our cellular plan. Now it's just kind of like $15 a month, unlimited data,
You
unlimited
call
texted,
it
and I'm just kind of like, it's crazy,
tethering.
right? So AI is kind of at the car phone
Yeah, but
stage
what is
right
it
now.
used for though? Like, I'm trying to get to the end point. What are we investing all this for? What is the end game? Once this infrastructure is up, because what a crash is coming because we're putting way too much money into this. So we're going to have to correct, much like after we invested in the railroad and the
Mm.
freeway, it's going to be a crash. But my question is, after we get this to a point and this infrastructure is up, what is it replacing? What is it going to do?
So so as with every transformational technology, you mentioned it, the railroads, then we had industrialization, then we had the internet, right?
Mhm.
Look at everything that came after the internet. When there was just Yahoo and Lycos and Netscape Navigator, whatever, we had no idea that was going to turn into Twitch, streaming, Uber, gig share, ride share, all that stuff. All these other created technologies stem from that, right?
Facts.
So AI,
Facts.
AI in this point right now, like I'm not saying it's going to be a utopia, but we just don't know what AI will create that we would not be able to live without in the future. Or we're just going to be like, thank you, AI. Like we can thank the internet now, right? But of course there was the Dawn bubble. That was a huge crash. So yes, there will be a correction, but whatever survives, that should be the pioneer for like I'm hoping the good of AI. I can see it now. Medical malpractice should be nearly zero because AI is going to catch everything, right? Hiring a lawyer could have like you could have both a physical person plus a on top of that like a legal assistant that will be fully funded by AI and it's cheap and it's just to make sure your lawyer isn't doing that bad of a job, right?
Mhm.
You know what I mean, or something like that. I'm this just you can just think about the good. Of course, the bad is people will be displaced from jobs, but the idea is there will be new jobs that will be powered by AI to help people go in different industries. We just don't know what that is yet. However, right now, of course, doom and gloom, the Matrix, Skynet.
Yeah, I'm not an AI doomsdayer by no intensive purposes. And I know new jobs will pop up just like before there was no internet, man. You can see yourself being a reseller on eBay or anything like that. Like
Right.
new jobs did
Yeah.
pop up. Like to be a streamer was not a job back then. Matter of fact, the internet is basically killing linear TV and broadcast journalism has really morphed into being just social media. That's being the news media, which
Yeah.
we need to regulate, but that's a different story. So no, I'm fully aware that whatever new technology is spouted because of this, new jobs will appear. I do not think AI will replace humans initially, but it is a conversation we need to have about how much money we're giving and to try to democratize this new technology. Because if it can make it so malpractice is zero, then shouldn't medical costs go down? If it can make it, yeah, if it can make it so things are faster and this lawyer now doesn't have to hire 5 paralegals, then man, my cost of legal services should decrease exponentially. Like maybe the cost of energy should go down because these data centers are paying for my infrastructure. Right now, they're trying to build XAI, which I'm totally against. But if you're going to shoehorn this thing and build XAI in Memphis, then you should probably be investing in this 1914 electricity grid we have. You should probably be doing that. And that's my whole thing, man. I just see the end game being a lot of displaced jobs. New jobs will come, but
But that's the thing about capitalism. Capitalism expects like the privatization of those resources to come with the companies that need those resources. They're gonna be like, hey, well, we need to build these power grids up, so we're going to invest into the community, or we're going to do it a la carte, or just pro bono or something like that. But that's never the case. They're
that's never the
all like
case.
every corporation is always going to try to find the cheapest way to just peanut butter spread their books to make it look like it's just statistically and mathematically, logically, how you want to put it, impossible for companies to make higher revenue and higher margin year after year. At some point, someone's going to run out of money to be like, I can't afford to buy it at that price anymore. And then what happens? People dump that stock and go to another one because they think that stock's stale. Like,
Facts.
like I, greed is what it's coming down to. Like, at some point, greed is going to run out of money to be greedy of. I'm really bearish against OpenAI. Like, I just look at how they practice, and it's a little bit it's just like openly like not say fraud, but openly like mismanaged, and they pretend that it's hey, you just don't understand. Like, no, I understand you're spending more money than you're making, and at some point you're going to run out of people willing to give their money to you to outspend. You know,
They should have really IPO'd 2 years ago. They really should have done that. They were in that
they
battle with Elon
they
Musk, so I
couldn't.
get it.
They had to restructure it in
Yeah.
order to do what they're doing now.
And I get that, man, but with the invention of these Chinese models and these free open source models and Llama, because DeepSeek is basically just Llama, like these models are about to, man, make these folks bankruptcy. Because I said in my last podcast, and I'll say it again, man, the dirty little secret is a lot of this shit gonna have to be free. And that's why Google is integrating Gemini into their browsers, into their search engine right now to get you hooked on it.
Yep.
Like a lot of this is going to be free in the future. So I don't know how OpenAI will survive. I don't know their business model. I don't even know what they're doing. And they just got sued by Apple for stealing
Yep.
IP to put into a
Yep.
hardware. So you can kind of see the pivot they was trying to think of. Like, hey man, we need to make a phone. We need to make some hardware because they know AI as it is now, or these large language models that we have now. Man, you about to get this for like $25 and a ham sandwich.
Yeah, they at the casino on trying to just push all in right now. It's not just so much OpenAI is bad because it's too expensive. People refuse to overpay. You know what I mean? And if there's a way to get it free, they will. And going back to what you mentioned, like right now everybody's paying for a license anyway. You don't pay to own anything. You can't really own AI, right? Because you just copy and paste it. Someone else can change something, and now you have your own language model. But still, it's like because people don't want to pay for anything. Like for instance, going back to Sony, how they just got rid of physical discs, and now people are in an uproar about you can only get digital copies. Well, guess what's going up now? Piracy is now
Yes.
starting to be reintroduced, and people have already jailbroke the PS5, and Sony's sweating bricks right now because they're like, can we out
Innovate this
muscle
piracy, yeah.
the hacking community? Well, this is a different hacking community. They got AI now.
Yeah, script kiddies are dangerous now. You're right. Because now you have another tool. You're right.
So going back to what I said, the industry and services or jobs that AI has yet to create, they might have just created Like they might have just created their own kryptonite. Like, oh, it's gonna make so much money for the millionaires. And then you kind of find out people have learned to use AI to steal everything that we try to license.
Well, I'm gonna be honest, man. Like what AI is really good for right now, it's a small business owner like me and the small content creator. It saves me a lot of time because I'm a one man show,
Hmm.
right? So now, where it used to take me about man a good 2.5 hours, and I'm talking about now, I got a degree in graphic design. It used to take me 2.5 hours to make uh
A script or
covers,
outline
yeah,
or something.
covers
Yeah.
and edit my videos, man. AI can do it for me like that. Like I don't do
Yeah.
graphics anymore. Come on, all right, well, it's just easier to man to prompt it and to get the
Yeah.
look I want. So yeah, like, that's arbitrage for me. And I know this little $20 a month I'm spending for AI, I'm getting way more value than $20. But if you're an
Right.
Airbnb, a Pizza Hut, or a Uber, not so much. With this tokenization of everything, you're not really getting anything right now. You're probably going to look at AI like, what am I doing this for? Because it's cheaper to honestly get people now than it is to use AI if you're a company, because we're not there yet.
And some fields they overshot their because like with Ford, they fired a bunch of like engineers thinking that AI is going to automate the system and they're not going to need them. They had to rehire a bunch of people back because AI was making mistakes. And the thing about people versus the machine is that when people make a mistake, you can grill them, you can
Yeah.
coach them, you can get them to be like, that ain't gonna happen again. I got you, boss. And and you will see improvement, and they will continue to perform as best as they could. When AI makes a mistake, what you gonna do? Are you gonna fire it? Have you ever spoken to AI?
I have.
AI is always like, hey, you know what? You make a good point. I'll make sure to remember that next
That's a
time.
good catch. I'm glad you caught that.
Is always like, oh, yeah, you know what? My mistake.
My bad,
I'm
dog.
just kind of like, and I'm just kind of like, I, I mean, I can't be the only one. I've cussed out AI as if it was a person,
Same
and
here.
it
Doesn't
doesn't
care.
improve.
Yeah.
I promise I'll get it better next time. Five
Mm,
prompts later, it didn't even remember what I was talking about. You
yeah.
know.
It's not there yet. I keep telling everybody, nobody knew what this stuff really did right now. So they jumped in because they just thought about, hey, man, reducing price margin. We can get better evaluations, get more money because we can lay off people. And that's the dirty little secret about stocks. Whenever you lay off somebody, the stock goes up. Like, oh, yeah, they're cutting costs. But yeah,
Yeah.
nobody knows what AI does right now. And they did get ahead of their skis. And I find it super hilarious, to be honest.
AI is just a buzzword, just like communism, socialism. AI, artificial intelligence. Now they want to say we want to move to general
General
intelligence,
intelligence.
and I'm
Yeah.
like, and I'm just kind of like, obviously the end goal you want something to be sentient. You want it to acknowledge its own existence. But then we have a bigger problem. But at the same time, it's like, AI is still very much A plus B equals C, and it depends on how good you wrote A and how good you wrote B in order to get your output, right? Because right now people literally upload reels. This is how you should enter in your prompts,
Yep.
right? This is how you should. This is how I got my exact graphic the way I wanted to.
Yep.
And I'm like, if I gotta take a degree in how to enter a prompt in AI, what good is AI? You know what I mean? Yes, it can create it, but I mean at the same time, it's like, you know,
You hitting the nail on the
so
head
what's
though,
going
because I tell everybody the difference between me and AI is I actually have a background in graphic design. So people always ask me, why does your graphics look better than mine? Because I actually know what to look for. And I got to prompt it to do
to?
that. I can actually use the verbiage to fix the prompt to get the look how I want to when you're just like, hey, AI, make a make a cover for me. And
Hmm.
that's kind of the problem. You're hitting it on the head.
I think what AI should be best used for now is just to get summaries and just to kind of like double check your work, not to do your work, double check.
Yes.
Like, hey, check my work. Let me know if I'm over, if there's any oversight. And I honestly, I really wish they could just put AI in every political debate. Just put like, this is, like Google AI. This debate is moderated and sponsored by Google. Here's Google AI's opinion on what would just transpire. But they can't do that
That's a billion
because they
dollar
really
idea
can't.
though.
They have no idea what AI is gonna say. You know
True.
what I mean?
True. I
Oh,
mean,
communism. Here's a link. how to sign up.
Be a comrade today. You could be a comrade tomorrow. Hey,
Matter of fact, this is your address.
your
So,
income will rise by $30,000 if communism happened. What? Like, if
yeah.
socialism was implemented tomorrow, man, your net income will rise $100,000. People are like, wait, why are we not doing the socialism? Why is the
And it'll
socialism
be
not
like
popping?
you just see like balloons and celebration on the screen. This is Trump's 700,000 lie. This is a huge milestone.
Pull out the cigars, baby. He did it, man.